Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Tablelands Regional Council Planning Committee meeting for August. Can I remind everyone to turn off mobile phones or put them onto silent, please? Do we have any apologies? No, thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet on today and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Item number 5. Do we have any declarations, any conflicts of interest by councillors or senior officers? Councillor Clifton.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I have a prescribed conflict of interest with item 8.2 TW Headley negotiated decision notice, and I will leave the room when that's being discussed.
Fantastic. Very good, thanks, Councillor Clifton. Any more declarations, councillors or officers? No, thank you. Okay, we'll move right on to item 8.1. JF Baffico, material change of use, tourist park and function facility, lot 13, RP7 49588, Kennedy Highway, Millstream, MCU 22/0018. Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Cardew's moving, Councillor Hayden seconding. Councillor Cardew.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Look, I fully support this. I think it's a great initiative of the applicant to be putting this up and going forward with that. I know that it'll be complementary to the roadhouse that's already existing there. I think the location is perfect. It's got the highway one side, they've got easement the other, so it's not going to have any impact on any residential or rural res properties. Great initiative, and I fully support it. The only question I do have to the planners is, will it be connected to the new upgraded water supply?
Through the chair, I don't believe so. There's provisions through the conditions that they have water supply storage on site. So.
Through the chair, it'll basically be up to the applicant to devise some combination of suppliers in order to meet the demand. So that's how the conditions worded. They wanted to do a water supply plan, like management plan for the site. So that's essentially what's built into the condition.
Okay.
Councillor Hayden.
So I also support the officer's recommendations, with all the signatures of support from all the locals is a really great thing to see, and I think this is a great step forward as well to support the tourism and the tourist accommodation in the southern part of the region. I applaud the applicant that has the courage to make a substantial investment in the tourism and a much needed function facility in the area as well.
Very good, thanks, Councillor Hayden. Councillors, any more questions on this one? Councillor Clifton.
Just a clarification. I did ask the question earlier and about the effect of larger vehicles turning off the highway, but is it worthwhile discussing that now?
Through the chair, into the campground.
Yeah.
There are TMR have required an upgrade to a certain standard of that intersection, which they're suitable with, which we're happy with. So yeah, there are some works as part of this proposal to that intersection into the premises.
Thanks for the clarification. Thank you.
Final call, councillors. Those in favour of the officer's recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item 8.2. Thanks, Councillor Clifton. Item 8.2, TW Headley Proprietary Limited, negotiated decision notice, material change of use, short-term accommodation, Lot 3, RP7 02445, and Lot 1, RP7 38078, 6163 Main Street, Tolga, MCU 23/00001. Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Hodge is moving. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Wilts. Councillor Hodge.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, fully support this. Just a bit of history, of course, this particular site was the Tolga butchery for many, many decades. And some years ago, it closed and the site was cleared. And then a planning application was applied for, I think it was a shop, like a 727, which was approved with conditions. That hasn't eventuated. And now we had the application for the short-term accommodation, which was approved. There was a timing issue and it was deemed approval, which was, of course, the timing issue. Under the statutory period, we then gave the applicant a set of conditions. Now they've come back to us today. They've negotiated with their officers. I think everyone's happy, both sides are happy, so happy to, probably the only one point, of course, is the sewer, and they understand that whenever they want to hook in the sewer, they have to hook into a gravity main, not the rising main. So they understand that. They have the option waiting for us to do something, or they could go west and go up to the school in Hookin if they wanted to up there, at their own cost, of course. So with that, yeah, happy to support it, thanks.
Councillor Wills.
Yeah, thanks. Yes, through the chair, totally commend this initiative. Short-term accommodation is extremely scarce, not only in the Shire, but especially up this end of the Shire. Going to be fantastic for Tolga, well, which happens to be my division, isn't it? But no, it's fantastic not only for Tolga, but for the whole Shire, and I'm fully supportive of it.
Thanks, Councillor Wills. Councillors? Okay, those in favour of the officer's recommendation? Carried, thank you. Item 8.3, A Floriensig, reconfiguring a lot 1 into 11 lots plus new road and drainage / open space lot, lot 901 SP 245606, Kennedy Highway, Atherton, RAL 22/0011. Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Cardew's moving. And Councillor Wilts is seconding. Councillor Cardew.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Yeah, look, fully support this. Long time coming. We've got a couple of subdivisions out there virtually the same thing, which is good to see. This particular application is going to further assist with the road closure of Manty Road, which is, in my mind, a very good thing. That we needed to do something with that Manty Road intersection for a very, very long time. Part of the subdivision approval is going to achieve that with that road being closed. So I know there's a few other things that have been talked about and bashed around for quite a bit, but in essence, the overall concept I think is very good. So yeah, fully supported.
Thanks, Councillor Cardew. Councillor Wilts, did you?
Yeah, I also support it. Yeah, the traffic situation out that way is extremely ordinary. Even at a good day, the intersection at Manthey Road is creating and has created issues for many a year. And the intersection and the use of traffic in Beantree Road and the Kennedy Highway and the Tolga Scrub also causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of motorists. So I fully support the new road infrastructure. I would just call on the planners though, if they could just give a brief overview of what actually is happening with Manthey Road.
Sure, and through the chair. So whilst not part of this application, we do know that what happens here has a potential impact on the broader road network around the premises. So there is a road proposed through the premises, lot 901. I think council has signalled its intentions with regards to that future road and how it is a priority in our eyes, and will alleviate the issues with Manthey Road and potentially, you know, the closure of that road in the long term, short to long term potentially. Representations have been made by the consultant working with the owner of the lot to the north. They have a subdivision approval with some TMR requirements regarding Manthey Road and its closure. The representations made are around the closure of the road, and indicative feedback from the state at this moment is that they potentially will take the requirement to close Manthey Road off that development. So no requirement to close Manthey Road as part of that development. Now, that potentially has the potential to create headaches for us. So yes, not expressly dealt with through this development, but there are things happening. Like I said, we've indicated our how we view the road through this proposed development and alleviating some of those concerns and how it is a priority for council. So good to see that it has been proposed as part of this development and support that as the long-term alternative through to the Kennedy Highway and broader across the site. So yeah, that's what's happening more broadly.
Very good, thank you. Councillor Hodge?
Yeah, two things. In regards to, I'll talk about Manthey Road. What I'd like to do is add an extra clause into this application, if that's the correct way to do it, is that the CEO or the Mayor write to the Minister for Main Roads, requesting that the Kennedy Highway, Manthey Road intersection be closed immediately, because it has become the most dangerous intersection. And now with this application, and now the road is at Isabella East is open now, so therefore we have all the big traffic now actually coming out of south, out of the Tolga Industrial Estate or the Athens Industrial Estate, out through Manthey Road, and it's really. I don't really want to have anything to do with it. I just don't want to sit back and just say, I hope nothing happens. So that I will be adding that part in. I just want to go to, just so everyone understands, and I'll ask our officers to explain easement B and C. There's intended to be an amendment to that. Now, led to believe at the moment that both parties have to agree to that amendment. And I think the Coles Motor Group have not, and at this present will not. And if that's the case, this will stall. This cannot go ahead until that easement has been amended correctly. Am I correct in saying that?
Through the chair, there is an agreement that is required to finalise that easement. The DA process is not the process to get that agreement. It's through the survey plan approval process. So the parties will have to agree. The council's not a party to that easement. It's between the owners of lot 901, 902. So there is a natural progression of this through the survey plan where the parties will have to come together to reach agreement. The application before us, reconfiguration of the lot, any changes to that easement made as part of this process or down the track doesn't materially impact the configuration. So yes, but just noting there will be a point in time as part of this process that those parties will have to come together to reach agreement, but it's not required to be part of the development assessment process or the consideration of the application.
Sorry, through the chair, just add to that, it's not a deal breaker for this development.
No.
If that easement stays there, I still believe that the applicant intends to receive it. It's just a constraint on those lots that makes them less
On those
attractive
ones.
to purchasers.
And further to that, and through the chair, we're satisfied as officers that the easement change that we may still satisfies the purpose and intent of that easement for a future road corridor, and obviously we're through there too, so.
Okay.
Can I just also say, I'm not sure that this application is sufficient to, or should be linked to the closure of Manthey Road either. Like adding in that as part of the resolution might be something more appropriately dealt with at the ordinary council meeting as a request rather than linking it directly to this application, councillor Hodge.
No, I'm happy with that.
Or it could be through a motion without notice later on in the agenda.
I don't think it's necessarily a planning matter, that's all. It's a road, it is all linked, I understand that, but I think it's more appropriate that it goes through the ordinary council meeting as a notice of motion, councillor Hodge. If you'd like to do that, that's all.
Okay, I'll get that.
It's only the mechanics of it. And there's going to be no immediate additional impacts on that intersection as a consequence of the decision today.
Councillor Wills.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, not so much by way of apology, but I raised the topic of Manthey Road. I just wanted to get it on the table. Totally appreciate your comments, Mr. CEO. Yeah, better dealt with in the general meeting.
Very good. Councillor Cardew.
Yeah, thanks. I could just ask the planners, can you give a bit of an explanation about the proposed area of land that's going to be transferred to council, being the bit for the detention basins and things on? Is that the normal practice for that sort of stuff to come to council? For those detention, that means they've got to maintain those detention basins and stuff.
Through the chair, yes, it has been done both ways over the years. Yes, and in the past we have taken it, but I suppose the only big difference about that particular condition is that we don't need all of that land for those detention basins, and so we've asked for it to be transferred to council in freehold, so anything that we don't actually need for that infrastructure, we could potentially use for some other purpose, go to market with it, I guess.
Councillors, final call.
Yes, just one more, if you don't mind. I just want to make sure, and I'm quite sure it is in here, is in regards to the stormwater drainage and the detention basin, the effects that will have on the properties to use. So, I mean, they've always been worried about the other application from the Coal Miner Group, so I just want to make sure that it all stacks up here, because we all know if we don't get that drainage right, we know what happened with the Tilt Industrial Estate. If we be lenient, we know what the results are. The ratepayer ends up paying for it. So I want to make sure that is absolutely strict and proper.
And through the chair, the extent of that drainage reserve that's been proposed is, it is significant. It will alleviate some of those impacts that they experience through the broader site. We know there's also, attempts being made at the moment to deal with the stormwater issue, and that will be captured in the detailed design for, in association with the road that gets designed. But yeah, I guess just generally it does take into account those impacts, and like I said, it's a pretty significant infrastructure being proposed in that through detention basins. So, it should alleviate and take into account some of those.
So the other point I want to make sure is that all the plans and the approvals through the op works are done prior to any soil being turned.
And through the chair, that's normal practice, yeah. So the next step, which you would be aware, councillor, is operational works will come after this, and that's where we resolve the detailed design around road, stormwater, infrastructure, civil, so, yeah.
So just add to that through the chair. So with that area of land, there were some discussions too about seeing what we could potentially do to solve issues in the broader catchment stormwater wise.
Yep.
So that's something that'll just have to be sort of nutted out at the operational work stage.
Okay.
So getting that area of land might actually give council some opportunity to do something to better the situation in that catchment.
Okay, the whole, okay.
Will consultation with the landowners on the eastern side be part of that process?
through Chair, it wouldn't normally as part of an operational work submission, but if council wanted to do that off their own backs, I suppose that's something that we could do. We're well aware of the issues that they've raised over the years.
Yeah,
and there's
that's
been
why
some
we
issues
raised
on
it.
other applications.
So maybe, through the chair, not direct consultation, but we're acutely aware of the issues, and anything we do there would look to seek to resolve and alleviate those issues through.
Yeah, thank you, James.
Okay, councillors, those in favour of the officer's recommendation? Carried. Okay, that brings us to item 8.4. Councillors, there's been a slight amendment to this 8.4, which is the Planning Committee meetings for September 2023. We'll see the officer's recommendation there. That's in your agenda, proposing that we hold an additional meeting on the 7th of September, and we'll advertise that through the regular avenues. However, we'd also like to change our meeting on the 14th and bring that back to the 13th, bring it back one day earlier. The councillor is going to be away on the 14th. So if we can bring that meeting of the 14th back to the 13th, which brings it from a Thursday to a Wednesday, just brings it one day earlier.
I'm happy with that.
So I'll just read that. Is that, have you got it there, Jackie? Is that it?
I'm just doing it into 2 points.
Okay. That council resolved to hold an additional planning committee meeting on the 7th of September 2023, and 2, that we move the meeting of the 14th, scheduled for the 14th of September, to the 13th of September 2023, and advertise these changes through council's communication tools. So any questions about that, councillors? If we can have a mover of the motion that's up on the screen. So councillor.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, there's a couple of workshops on that day that might have to be postponed.
Yeah, well, the meeting will take priority.
Yeah.
We'll work through any consequences.
Yeah,
I'm happy to move.
so councillor Wilts is moving, councillor Clifton is seconding. Councillor Wilts, did you have anything to add?
Nathan?
No?
Just by way of comment, we'd just like we swap the workshops to the Thursday, where we were committed to as well, understanding Councillor Councillor Carjo may not be able to participate, but it's going to happen.
Very good. All right, so we've got a mover and a seconder of the officer of the recommendation that's up on the screen. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Okay, item 9, notice of motion. Item 10, business without notice. We have no confidential items. There being no further business, I declare the meeting closed.